Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel. My name is Terrell.
And my name is Brendan.
We are
BNT Reacts. And today we are checking out Dream SMP, The Complete Story, L'Manberg Revolution. And this is by Evan MC Gaming.
So we're finally at part 2. Y'all have been spamming us.
Yes.
To do part 2, we're trying to space them out. Within a day, so we aren't doing too much of this, and we aren't just doing too much because these videos are quite long.
Yeah.
And so we don't want to get to the point where it's like, okay, where we're like, we've already like seen this, you know. We want to like keep it fresh. So we gonna try to be a little bit earlier next time though, because I don't think, well, I know I definitely didn't realize it was that long. Since we
I didn't think it was
like 2 weeks.
I thought it was like a week.
Yeah, I thought so too. So time is just completely slip. But anyway, let's get right into it though. Let's watch. The first part was.
It was great.
I'm eating my banana. Get y'all snacks, by the way. Get your popcorn, the food, whatever you want to eat, and
I got 36 minutes.
We're gonna be here for a long time.
Following the events of the First War in the Dream SMP, the tension between Dream and Tommy and Tubbo did not go away. Having been the only people to stand up to Dream, Tommy and Tubbo were not exactly friends with the most powerful man on the server. But they couldn't fight back. They didn't have the resources, the people, or the will to start another battle. Until a new player joined, who would change everything.
That's Wilbur, right?
Today,
I think so.
I will tell a story. A story of independence.
He's just so damn
A story
dramatic.
of a people who rose up against tyranny. A story of revolution. This is part 2 of the story.
Also, shout out to Evan, the creator of these videos.
Really quick,
on the channel.
this video took weeks to make, so if you could take 1 second to
Y'all said that he
subscribe,
recreates every like scene by like doing this. Shout out to this is a lot of hard work.
Thank you.
So make sure y'all
Also,
show some respect.
thanks again to Lord Cantor for letting me use his recreation of the Dream SMP for this video. Make sure to go check out his channel if you're interested in seeing how he did it. Again, the link is in the description.
Like it took a long ass time to build.
Anyway, let's start from the beginning. Wilbur Soot.
Wilbur Soot, I keep saying fucking.
Comedic genius.
Everybody says, yeah.
Coming up with some of the most
we butchered these
influential
names.
ideas in recent Minecraft history, Wilbur is a mastermind of virality. Creating his first video on March 29th, 2019, and using his experience from his time with the channel Soot House, Wilbur, in just under 2 years, has amassed over 3
Yeah, dang, he started in 2019? Go off, Wilbur.
So when it was announced that he would be joining the Dream SMP, people knew things would change. But no one expected how much it really would. Being a genius of words and stories, Wilbur brought something to the table that no one had really considered. Tommy had a rough idea of how the Disc Saga would go, but for the next story, Wilbur would take it a step further. The introduction of Wilbur marked a turning point in the SMP, from a jumbled mess of conflict to something more. From this point on, the story of the SMP would be planned out, for the most part, before it happened. Scripted improvisation. And Wilbur, the main writer, began his story the day he logged on. This marked the true beginning of the storyline of the Dream SMP. Wilbur saw an opportunity in the Dream SMP. Not an opportunity for power or an opportunity for war, but an opportunity for business. And on July 24th, he logged on to the SMP and began moving forward. He started by building a caravan, Camar van, the base of operations for his
I was trying to pronounce everybody's name.
After this, he went to
SMP.
recruit his first business partner, Tommy Innan. He then explained his master plan for their business. After tricking the rest of the SMP members into giving up all of their blaze rods and brewing stands, Tommy and Wilbur would be able to produce all of the potions on the server, profiting from the newfound rarity of these potions. Agreeing without hesitation, Tommy joined Wilbur, and together, they began sweeping the server, convincing players to give up their brewing stands and blaze rods. They started with Tubbo. Tubbo, who trusted Tommy and Wilbur, fell victim to the scam, giving his brewing stands and water-breathing potions.
Damn, I thought
That
Tubbo
being
was
said,
on
not everyone was
Tommy's
convinced.
team. Why you
I know, why are we
Saw right through their plan. Sapnap. As Tubbo attempted to give up a stack of blaze rods to the new business partners, Sapnap punched Tommy out of the way, taking them for himself. With further suspicion of their operation, Sapnap followed Tommy and Wilbur back to their van, taking it upon himself to investigate. Entering the truck, Sapnap, against the will of Wilbur and Tommy, began looking around. And it only took him a few seconds to enter the back of the truck and find their brewing stands,
He gonna kill you.
thus exposing their plans of scamming the server into giving up all of their potion-making supplies. With their backs against the wall, the duo attempted to enlist the help of Fundy. Their plan to get Fundy on their side was to frame Sapnap as the bad guy. They then proceeded to hide the evidence of their plans from Fundy, who then decided to join them. After this, Sapnap had had enough. Attempting to arrest Wilbur and Tommy, Sapnap ended up killing Tommy merely for taunting him. This prompted Tubbo, who was on the side of Sapnap after being scammed by Tommy and Wilbur, to reconsider his position. But although his loyalty to Sapnap wavered, for now, he remained on the side of the law. There was nothing the three could do. Being completely outgeared, Wilbur, Tommy, and Fundy retreated to the van. And right as they thought things couldn't get any worse, they did. As it turns out, Tommy had some unfinished business with Punk, having stolen from him once again. And as the team retreated to the van, Purpled and Punk came to confront Tommy. Things were not looking good for the new business, and if the team wanted a chance to escape, they had to think of something fast. And quickly, a plan began to form. Wilbur walked out of the van, stalling Purpled and Punk just long enough for Tommy to escape through the floor of the van into a cave. Shortly after, the two noticed and began to pursue him. Wilbur, confronted only by Tubbo, logged out of the game to buy some more time. Lastly, Fundy stayed in the caravan, along with Tubbo and Eric, another member of the SMP who had recently joined.
Eric!
Guards stood, awaiting Wilbur to rejoin. Meanwhile, the pursuit of Tommy continued, and before long, they had found him. Surrounded, Tommy surrendered, being escorted to jail on half a heart.
Dang.
With the news of Tommy being captured, one of the guards, Tubbo, began escorting Fundy to jail as well for conspiring to help Wilbur and Tommy. All that remained in the van was Eric, the final guard standing between Wilbur and freedom. But in a surprising turn of events, Eric betrayed the other guards, choosing to help the enemy instead. And just like that, Eric was an ally of the business.
Okay.
Knowing he was safe, Wilbur logged back in and conspired with Eric to free Fundy and Tommy. Their plan to free Fundy was easy as he was still being escorted by Tubbo. Eric would convince Tubbo to let him finish the escorting of Fundy to court, where he would then bring Fundy to his house, allowing him to plant Wilbur the ingredients for an invisibility potion. And the plan would have worked. But when Fundy and Eric reached Fundy's house, Purpled was there. Little did they know, he had been spying on them in their voice call the whole time.
What?
And knew Eric had betrayed them.
How rude.
He then quickly informed Sapnap of the news and requested him to come to Fundy's base as backup. While Sapnap was leaving for Fundy's base, he left Punk in charge of watching Tommy. As the two sat in the courthouse, they began to talk. And before long, Tommy had convinced Punk to help him escape. Tommy's plan was to have Punk draw the guards back to the courthouse and escape through a hole he dug in the back of his cell. This was perfect timing for Sapnap and Purpled, as Sapnap had just arrived at Fundy's base and the two guards began escorting Fundy and Eric to court. Tubbo, meanwhile, traveled back to the van to keep an eye on Wilbur. After Wilbur transformed the van from the potion brewing station it was to a hot dog van, Tubbo, with Wilbur's permission, investigated. Finding nothing out of the ordinary, Tubbo provided compensation of 10 gold for the disturbances they had caused earlier. And gold was one of the main materials he needed to make the invisibility potion.
Oh my gosh. What the
Beginning
heck?
to fall into place. Although it had hit some rough patches, there was still a solid chance of the prisoners escaping. And as the guards escorted Fundy and Eric back to court, Wilbur continued gathering the resources for the potions. Before long, the trial had started and they were running out of time to escape. Ponk had been figured out and was thrown in jail with Tommy, and Purple went off looking for Wilbur, who had just began brewing. With Purple gone and Wilbur about to be compromised, all 4 of the prisoners dug out of their cells and ran. Everyone was on the run. After some fighting, everyone decided it would be best to meet back at the van. And as they were coming back, Tubbo and Wilbur began to talk. After explaining his plans to Tubbo and talking of the injustice they had done to him and his accomplices, Tubbo decided to join his side.
Okay.
And just like that, with
But
everyone
Tubbo,
safe
you were
in
one of
the
the
van
ones
and
they
the
scammed, so why are you gonna
I
join
know.
it all of a
the
sudden?
businessmen had been through enough. They knew that the next time they logged on, they
That's a nice
had
building.
to
I know, I
fight.
like that. I like your castle.
And Wilbur had an idea. One that would send the server into further chaos and begin one of the most famous stories on the SMP. The team would no longer be businessmen. They would be citizens of a new nation.
Oh my gosh.
They would begin a revolution.
Okay, period. Period. We're here for that.
Before we continue, I'd like to give a quick thanks to this video's sponsor, the Archon. If you don't already know, the Archon is one of the most popular factions in Skyblock servers, and they also host a variety of other fun games as well. Luckily for you, just for watching the video, you can grab yourself a free rank. Just click on the free rank icon in the store, then add
I think
to
this
cart,
video is old,
specify
so
the
I
realm
don't
you
know
want to
if
claim
this
your
will
rank
work.
in, and finally, enter code EVAN to claim the rank. The IP to join and code to claim your rank are on screen now, and also
There's so
in
much
the
information we didn't know, so if I'm not talking,
fun.
well, we're not talking, that's because
Now,
we're trying to like
back to the
Yeah, I
video.
feel like we're just
process
grasping everything. Yeah.
1 week passed before their country was officially born.
And usually I be
That
talking
week,
up a storm,
as
so.
well as the time before Wilbur joined, a lot had changed on the server. New players and new builds. During the time of peace after the First War, 2 new players joined the server. These players were Skeppy and Eric. For the most part, Skeppy did not play a major role in the story other than burning a new disc Tommy had gathered after the First War. Eric, on the other hand, did, and would play a major role in the new nation of L'Manberg.
Okay.
I mean, see, Eric was in the last, like, during the last, like,
The new builds include
Well, I guess
the sewer
no, 'cause
system
that wasn't
led
officially
to
in
many
war.
areas of the server.
the first war was
Eric's
with Green.
castle,
Yeah.
which eventually housed the throne for whoever held the title of King of the Dream SMP, a jungle base built far away by Tubbo, and a few new towers here and there. Bit by bit, development continued on the server.
Damn, this is nice.
The
I
day
know.
Eric was born. This day marked the beginning of a new era in the Dream SMP. An era of independence.
Okay.
3 days. That's how long the war would last. In 3 days, the fate of their nation would be decided, and the wills of the men, and Tommy, who created it, would be tested beyond their limits. But before they could begin a revolution, their great nation needed a name. And Tommy had just the idea.
Tommy S&P. What is it?
Oh my god! Manberg. Or, alternatively, Mantopia.
I like Mantopia.
Yeah?
How do we make it European? Le Manberg.
Le Manberg.
Le
Yeah,
Man-
funny.
Le Manberg.
Where do you live? I live in the state of Le Manberg.
After the name was decided,
Okay.
fellow citizens began to build a wall to distinguish their land from the greater Dream SMP.
Dang, they really just like, this is our
In their
spot
new
now.
nation, anyone would be allowed
Not
to
them
make
building the,
potions without being
I
audited,
know.
and the tyranny of Dream and his fellow Americans would no longer affect
American?
This was the Dream. And along with Will,
Oh, Dream might be in the U.S.
Bundy and
I'm about
Harry
to say, what you
joined
mean
the
Americans? These are Minecraft.
Upon hearing the news of revolution brewing on the server, Dream went to confront the members of Lamamber.
Dream, leave them alone.
This time, they didn't hide anything.
They ain't doing nothing to you.
The team explained that everything inside the walls was their land and would be governed and cared for by them, separately and under no rule of the greater Dream SMP.
Damn, they ain't really got a big space.
Included would be Tommy's Hill House, which would remain property of their nation as the Lamamberg Embassy. Dream, however, was not convinced and left to conspire with his friends about what to do.
Damn, somebody got some big ass
Before
glasses.
long, Dream began inviting Tommy to leave Lamamberg and rejoin the greater Dream SMP. But he would have to do better than that if he wanted someone to turn. That being said, Wilbur still questioned Tommy's devotion to the cause.
What?
All you've done for this nation is you're one of the faces of it, right?
Thank you.
But you need to understand that you've done very little in terms of setup. I mean, look behind you. Look at Eric working hard.
As the two continued to talk, Wilbur still questioned whether Tommy was truly devoted to the revolution or just there to be a face of the nation.
Be a face.
And after they reached
Tommy been conspiring
phase
since he
2
first got
of
in that
Wilbur's
SMP.
plan began to take shape. But then, Tommy noticed something out of place.
Oh my,
Damn.
something? That's a lot of...
Alerting the rest of the squad about what was happening, Tommy saw It's Alyssa walking away from the fire.
Ooh.
She had taken it too far. And as the team chased
She
her
burning
down,
all that shit.
she logged out to escape death.
Oh,
The
damn.
team camped where she disconnected. Wilbur convinced Tommy to take off his armor and use his words, as he would not let their new nation of Lamamberg become the very thing he sought to destroy. Upon Alyssa rejoining, she began to run and Tommy killed her anyway. For Wilbur, this was the final straw. And when they all got back to Lamamberg, he temporarily dismissed Tommy, making him go back to his home in the greater Dream SMP. But then, word got out that Tubbo was being held hostage by Dream, Sapnap, and Puns. Tommy knew if there was any time to regain Wilbur's trust, it was now. By saving Tubbo, he could finally be the hero for Lamamberg he had always wanted to be. But they took him hostage as well. After Tubbo revealed that he had invisibility potions, Dream and Sapnap decided they could not risk them escaping with their stuff and killed both of them.
Ooh.
With this, Wilbur knew it was time. Time to make their revolution.
Your mouth was wide open.
I know, that's
The
rude.
tyranny and the aggression of the greater Dream SMP. And to
Nah,
officially
Dream smart. He like,
proclaim
give me that shit.
Their independence. Independence. And after some writing, Wilbur Sood, the leader of the great nation of Lamamberg, had drafted their Declaration of Independence. Forever, the nation of the Dream SMP have cast great sins upon our great land of the Hatadog Van. They have robbed us, imprisoned us, threatened us, killed many of our men. This time of tyranny ends with us. This book declares that the nation which shall be henceforth known as Lamamberg is separate, emancipated, and independent from the nation of Dream SMP.
Okay.
The union of the masters of men. Together, we are one. When in the course of human events, it becomes
Oh, so they
necessary
building a
for
big
one
ass
to
wall.
dissolve
I know.
the bonds which bind us. Disregarding of this truth is nothing short
Dream's
of
still watching.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all
Damn, this big as shit. They
the
not
right of
playing.
the people exists above the right of the king, the right of the government, and the right of the economy. From the Hatadog Van, we shall prevail. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of victory.
All y'all got in your space
This
is a
document
trailer.
was signed by all members of L'Manberg and represented much more than a mere book. These words were what held the nation together, a vow of brotherhood that would only end in independence or death. With the framing of the book, the nation of L'Manberg showed itself as a force to be reckoned with. And to Dream, this marked the point of no return.
Oh gosh, Dream.
As long as L'Manberg stood, Dream knew he couldn't have control. And so, him, George, Sapnap, and Puns drafted another document. The Declaration of
Man,
War.
George been minding his
Unlike the first
business.
war,
I know.
This time, there was much more at stake. This was not just a war for independence, but a war for power. And Dream would stop at nothing to put L'Manberg in the ground if it was the last thing he'd do.
Okay.
With the reality of war beginning to set in, both sides began to prepare. Off-stream, Tubbo had gathered potions to aid them in the coming battles. Meanwhile, Dream had burned down Tubbo's house. Because Dream was offline,
Dang.
Tommy and Tubbo used this time to attempt to convince the members of the Dream SMP Guard that they were on the wrong side. They began this by tempting Puns with a meaningless title, hoping he'd get excited and betray his friends. Next, Tommy had an idea to tempt Dream. He stated that if Dream refrained from attacking them, he would give up one of the discs. Tommy's most prized possessions on the SMP and the result of a hard-fought war would be put on the
Yeah, I'm
line.
gonna say this is the thing that started all this shit.
I know.
But as Tommy and Tubbo were leaving Dream's base, their entire army logged on at
What?
once.
Wow.
Tubbo was gunned down by Dream as Tommy fled to the sewers. All of the
He is
potions that
sprinting.
Tubbo had gathered were lost upon his death, being burned by Dream.
Damn.
Soon, everyone joined the call and reality began to set in. The Dream SMP army was there, and L'Manberg's was not. All Tommy and Tubbo could do was stall them and hope for the best.
Damn.
As Tommy arrived at his house to speak with Dream and his army, he found the entire property laced with TNT.
Oh god.
As a final effort, Tommy attempted to convince Dream he was in the wrong, but he would have none of it. The line had already been crossed, damage had been done, and doom was imminent. Dream and his men gave Tommy and the rest of L'Manberg one day. One day to surrender, or everything they owned would be destroyed. And so, as Wilbur received the news, the true preparation for the final battle began.
See, y'all should have just destroyed everything while everybody else on the other side was like still logged out.
Man-child bird.
Yeah.
We
I'm
are
not
at
giving
the
y'all
end.
no days.
You
Come
know
on,
what
we
we
gonna
have
destroy
that
this
they
shit,
don't
man. So we can win.
We have a righteous cause. We have an area to defend.
There is no mercy. We have burnt down Tubbo's house. We have planted TNT cannons around your land. We have cobblestone walled the outside, and we have shot one warning shot inside your walls.
No matter what happens, no matter even if he destroys the very hot dog van that we live out of, until the day we stop breathing, that is when L'Manberg has fallen.
We have no mercy! No mercy for you!
Do you know what he's driven by? Greed. Do you know what we're driven by? The defense of our land.
You understand? We will come. We will burn down your houses.
He can destroy the walls.
We will kill everything inside your walls.
He can slaughter our friends, our family.
And we will take back the land that is rightfully ours.
But until the day we stop breathing, the minute we let go of that dream, that's when he has won. Men, are you going to let go of that dream?
I want to see white flags! White flags outside your base by tomorrow at dawn, or you are dead!
Dang, calm down, Dream. You can't just give up that little circle.
Nah, you want all that shit.
The day of reckoning. And as Dream and his
Was
army
all of this
looked to
last
the
year,
skies
y'all?
of L'Manberg,
I think so.
no
Yeah.
Like
flag
2020.
flew.
I'm pretty sure.
Today,
I don't think the server started until the
there
beginning of
will
2020.
be-
Yeah, I think they said that, but I just wanted to
Before
double
Wilbur
check.
logged on, Tommy and Tubbo were attacked. After losing a few useless items, they retreated to L'Manberg where they waited for the official start of the war. Then their leader Wilbur joined the server. With Dream and his men camping the cobblestone wall they had built around part of L'Manberg, the revolutionaries retreated to the van and began to create a plan of action. Wilbur emphasized the importance of the element of surprise, as their team was completely outgeared by Dream's army. While they discussed their plan, Dream and his men spread to each wall, surrounding them.
Well, they should have like,
True to their
they should have went to the
origins,
van and like trapped them
now
inside
was
the
not
van.
the time to armor up. Using their words, Wilbur and Tommy attempted one final time to resolve things peacefully. But once again, it didn't work.
Oh,
And as the two sides regrouped, they prepared for the Battle of the Ages.
Oh gosh.
The war for independence, and most of all, the war for power. Wilbur decided that it would be a greater benefit for the group if he watched the battle from above. This meant the one leading them into battle would be Tommy. As they began making their way to the battlefield, they took it all in. The final calm before the storm. The last peace. Once the battle began, there would be no rest until someone had won. And having had their moment of peace, both armies moved into position. Let the war begin.
Okay, jeez.
The battle began on Tommy's front lawn. Dream and his men held Tommy's power tower while the L'Manberg army stood in the grass. As the enemies stared each other down, they both waited for the first move to be made. Then, a shot was fired by Dream. But it was nowhere close to the opposition. Confused,
he
everyone
trying to shoot
thought
at them
he
damn
missed,
bombs or something.
but he didn't.
Yep.
This was the first trap of the war and managed to take out Fundy. Immediately, the L'Manberg army retreated inside Tommy's house as arrows began to rain down from above. Totally undergeared, Tommy crafted a bow and missed the only shot he had. It had been less than a minute since the first shot was fired, and they were already backed into a corner. As Tommy began to retreat, Wilbur pulled everyone back. They had to hold their ground. Placing half slabs on the windows, the men began returning fire. It didn't take long for them to realize that their shots weren't doing much. They needed another plan.
Yeah, because they are higher ground, so their shots ain't gonna hit you. You gotta shoot all the way up so yours ain't gonna hit.
But Tubble reminded him that Dream had his end crystals from when they killed him earlier. Fundy, however, had a better idea. Using an invisibility potion, he would sneak up the tower, knocking all of them off and escaping unseen.
Okay.
This would be their next plan of action.
That is smart.
But as everyone walked outside to draw fire away from Fundy, they realized the arrows had stopped being fired, and Dream's army was falling back to Ponk's tower.
Oh,
In an attempt to effectively counter their enemy's new position, the L'Manberg army traveled to the nearby Punz's tower. This tower stood at nearly the same height as Ponk's tower and would allow for the fire to continue. But Dream's army didn't climb the tower. This meant that when Tommy and Tubbo reached the top and began firing down, the Dream SMP army could not shoot high enough to hit them. They were completely safe. Because of this, as well as fire from the rest of the L'Manberg army down below, Dream ordered his men to retreat once again. This was huge.
damn, did he fall?
Somehow, completely outgeared, L'Manberg was driving Dream's army out of their own land. And with this victory, Eric convinced the rest of the group to join him in L'Manberg, for he had been grinding for a secret weapon.
Okay.
Something that would turn the tides
you
of
got,
the war
Eric?
and secure victory. A surprise attack. But something was off. As the group moved closer and closer
Eric
to
trading
the
on them.
control room, they only became more and more confused
Please don't.
until they were all there, gathered around a single wooden button. Tommy could not handle the suspense and pressed the button.
Is it bombs?
The room fell silent. Then, the unthinkable happened.
No, he isn't. He didn't trade on that.
There's nothing in the chest.
No! How
Get him.
Down with the revolution, boys. It was never meant to be.
Just like that, they all had nothing.
Wow.
All of their armor and weapons had been stolen or burned, and they all retreated to the van. The place where it all began. To take inventory and come up with another plan.
Come on, guys, get a plane.
Before long, it became even clearer that they had absolutely nothing. This meant they would have to resort back to the core beliefs of L'Manberg. Winning through words.
Oh.
Wilbur, alone, attempted to negotiate with Dream. But it was no use.
Dream like, no.
Yet another ultimatum was set. If L'Manberg did not fly white flags signifying their surrender of the war, Dream would blow up
Dang.
it all.
Dang, Dream.
Believing this was a bluff, Wilbur followed Dream.
Nah, he gonna do it, Wilbur. Don't. He's not gonna bluff his
for their
football.
final statement. Then they all remembered the start of the war, the trap, the explosion. They had to stop. It was too late. All they could do was watch.
Get back. Don't let this hurt you guys. Don't let this hurt you.
Damn, there's so many bombs.
The land, their nation, the van. It was all gone. The dream of independence, a chance at freedom, gone with the swift shot of an arrow. And with that, Wilbur, along with his right-hand man, went to negotiate the terms of surrender. And as they met with Dream, Tommy began to run his mouth, and Wilbur's attempts at calming him were no use. Tommy went on, insulting Dream and even challenging him to a 1v1 bow duel. But then something happened that was expected by absolutely no one.
Oh gosh, what the...
Dream was interested in the duel. And so, a civilized discussion began, and
Not the
within
chicken
minutes,
behind.
a final duel was in place.
You got one heart.
The rules were simple. Both Tommy and Dream would line up on half a heart. After taking 10 paces each, the two would turn around and fire bow shots at each other. The first person to land a shot would win the duel. The stakes were the highest they'd ever been. If Tommy won, L'Manberg would be given its independence. But if Dream won, not only would L'Manberg lose its independence for good, but Tommy would have to give Dream Mellowhigh.
No.
One of the two discs
Not the
won back
discs.
from Dream in the First War. With everything on the line, the sun fell low in the sky.
T. Oh my
It
gosh.
was a showdown. The creator of the server and most powerful man there
Come on, Tommy.
versus
No,
Tommy
come on,
on.
Dream.
No, I want Tommy to win.
of freedom. They took their positions. Wilbur stood in the center and would be counting off their 10 paces. The fate of L'Manberg was now in the hands of Tommy. All his friends could do was watch and pray. The count began.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
The world stood still. And then
10 paces fire.
Oh.
Oh. Damn. Why do you like to... No. I wanted them to win.
And Tommy owed Dream the very disc he spent days fighting to get
Yep,
back.
he's giving back.
With this, it
Surrender.
once again seemed that all hope was lost for L'Manberg. But in one final twist, Tommy had an idea. One that would fly in the face of everything he was known for. He requested for Dream to join a private call, and he did. This is what happened.
Dream, I know what you want from me. I'll give you both of the discs if you let us have our independence. Both of them.
Wait. That is a very, very interesting deal.
No, it's not. It's a trap.
Yes, do it.
Selfless of you. Those are your discs.
For the Manberg.
Because they can just get the disc back easily. They can find them.
I'll grant you technical independence for both discs. We will not go into your grounds unless we're allowed, and we will.
You respect us. Yeah, just independence, man. Just independence.
Tommy, despite for his entire time on the SMP thinking only of himself and his own wants and needs, laid down his most prized possessions for the greater good of
Yes,
their
we
nation.
love growth. We love
This
character
story
development.
had a happy ending, and L'Manberg, against all odds, was free at last. In the light of their victory, Wilbur gathered the men to write the Decree of Independence. It read, as we gaze upon the swaths of redwood trees, the great hills to our south, and the walls
I
It's
love
so
it.
damn dramatic.
I love it.
I, as the now president of L'Manberg, hereby state,
Suck it, Green Boy!
Oh my gosh.
But y'all only survived because y'all had, so y'all lost, so you can't really say that.
and the pursuit
Because they
You're just
tried
bitter.
and
You're just
tried.
bitter. We don't need that
I'm not bitter.
negativity.
Dream still
sunset
won.
of their new nation, Tommy and
Yeah,
Tommy
I'm not
returned to the bench outside Tommy's house. There, they played a different disc to celebrate their independence. With the L'Manberg War ending, the server once again entered a time of peace. Over the next month, many small skirmishes happened, new developments occurred, and new players joined. But the next true development in their story would arise in early September. With Wilbur being the self-elected president of L'Manberg, many of the new players, upon hearing this, titled him a dictator. What resulted from these accusations
Quackity,
was
what?
a new era in the storyline. A different kind of war. This was the first annual L'Manberg election.
Oh.
Okay.
Alright, was that the end?
I think so.
Yeah. Alright, what did you think of this video?
I still liked it. Again, I feel like this had a lot more than the other. I feel like a lot of the other video was like them, like fighting for the discs. Like it was a lot of just like action and everything. This had a lot of like new people and like more, I guess like plot. I don't know. So I guess that's why we were kind of quiet for a lot of it. But I still love this. It's literally, like you said, it's so dramatic and like cinematic. But then when you think about it, it's like just Minecraft. But it is so interesting, and I am still so intrigued by everything. And at this point, maybe if Wilbur is starting to act like dictator, maybe I won't stand L'Manberg, but I did want L'Manberg to win against Dream in this scenario. But I thought it was very entertaining, and I cannot wait to watch more.
Yeah, clearly I enjoyed it as well. It was a nice video. Team Dream. Tommy just wasn't there wrecking shit, and that's why I'm Team Dream, because Dream was not doing nothing to Tommy. He was like, just come on my SMP and follow my rules and we good. But Tommy had to do all that, and so Dream was like, yeah, I put you in your place. So I'm Team Dream. That's it. That's just all. But alright, dog, that's all for this reaction. If you like it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you also hit that subscribe button and go ahead and comment down below for more reaction requests. If you need more videos like this or anything, I'm gonna react to it.
And make sure to follow us on our social medias, Instagram and Twitter.
Part 3 is quite long. It is about an hour. So we probably will split it in half. We'll try to get that out again, like we said at the beginning of the video. Though we'll try to get these out quicker because y'all be spamming us. But we still do very much enjoy these. So we'll try our best for y'all. But alright, y'all, that's all for this reaction, and we're out. Bye.
Bye.